Best case scenario would be for you guys to blind react, which is what we'll be doing. So we've never read these.
I'm gonna scroll with you. Okay, down.
All right, so down the first page. Let's go. Okay, 1. What inspired Tagline? Okay, I can probably start here. Tagline originally was a very different project. It was a different game that I started with a group of friends. Well, it was really for a school project, and it was like a weird elemental game where you would grab like materials like rock or wood or stone or whatever, which I guess is rock. But Alex kind of saw that game project, and that game was kind of really poopy. We didn't really, not really good, but some aspects were fun, and we essentially kept what was fun from that aspect. And Alex made some cooler concept out of it with the graffiti, and it was just kind of more funky, more fresh, much more unique, and we really liked it. So kind of moved with that.
Yeah, there was a period there where it was going to be wizards.
Huh? Yeah.
There was a period where it was going to be fantasy.
Yeah, there was two ways we were gonna go. It was either graffiti or magic, and I think we're happy that we moved forward with graffiti. Magic is
it's overplayed.
It's fun, but we've seen it a lot. I feel like graffiti was a little more fun. So.
Yep.
That's cool.
What's been the most challenging part of development so far?
Most challenging part of development.
I would say how long it took us to get to the final art style, since we had like periods where the map had like bloom on it. We had periods where the map was going to have certain textures.
Especially the lighting. Yeah. Lighting and textures, knowing if we would use textures and materials and UVs, or if we were going to actually light with proper lighting, or use kind of like this, what we've done with kind of cell shading, etc.
How many months ago did we I feel like it was this year when I was in New York with you that we decided on the final look.
Yeah, this year's when we found. Well, I think that we decided on going in 2021, the summer, which is when we finished the Mutineer. We also did an art pass, and that's when we have decided to use emissives and this kind of like new technique of having kind of no lighting at all. It's when we made the move of saying we're not going to use lighting. And then this year, at the beginning in January, is when we were like, okay, this is good. And then we've come up with how to do the black lines and how to add kind of that flavor to the buildings, and avoid other things for ourselves in our workload, because we're just two. So some of the challenging parts is the fact that we're also just two, and that we do sometimes need to kind of find some creative solutions to some of the like big portions of the game, like the maps are just a lot of work, and just two of us is too much to do an entire huge city fully detailed with beautiful like PBR everything. Like, it's just not going to work that way. So we've come up with a cool cartoon, fun aesthetic, and something that is actually within scope for us. But being able to stay within scope can be really challenging here sometimes because we're just two. But I'm pretty happy with what we're doing though.
Question number 4.
4? What about 3?
Oh, you're right. Oh, it has the word fun in it, so I just skipped it.
You're like, there is no fun. What are you talking about?
Well, what's been the most fun part of development?
What's been the most fun part of development so far? Well, it's not development, but going to GDC was one of the coolest. It was really fun. We went to San Francisco. We got to see a lot of people play, visually see them play, which was really cool, especially for the first time. It taught us a lot about how to improve the game. And of course, playing is always fun because this is a game that I would and I do play quite a lot. So I do like testing sometimes, especially when we were testing kind of like for balancing issues, like for the races or whatever.
EDC was fun because we were looking for publishers, and like every single morning we'd wake up and just like we'd get the coffee, and then we'd try to spend as much time as we could on the expo floor. We'd try to set up meetings like a couple hours beforehand.
I mean, we had a laptop, we had a rig, we were trying to really get people to play the game. You even made comic books. Here, wait, I have them here.
Oh yeah, I have some comic books too that I was handing out to people.
You made these like comic books we were giving which was really cool, and it like explained the lore a little bit, or like it got you, it gave us the intrigue of the game. Yeah, exactly. It kind of gave you an understanding of what you're doing, and a card. It was pretty fun. So yeah, GDC was definitely fun, but that's very much not so development. Although we did have a lot of people test, and that was a big deal. It was really cool to see people test, and it was really cool to see a lot of developers in the same kind of shoes as us, also making a game that, you know, looked amazing, and just they were trying to push it and trying to get people to test, and it was really impressive. Some of the games and some of the people we met were just really cool. So even outside of just trying to look for a publisher or things like that, just meeting the community and other developers was very fun.
What inspired the art style for Tagline?
That's a good one.
Time to get to. People compare it to Jet Set Radio, and I do think originally, I think the first summer we started working on it, I posted some like screenshots from Mirror's Edge into the concept folder.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's make it like clean like Mirror's Edge. And then I was like, oh, well, we can't actually make it look like Mirror's Edge because, you know.
Well, because we definitely like the monochromatic white and then color, right? Like we like
color dot.
Yeah, for sure. And so.
And then it became more cartoony, so.
That's where
Jet Set-y.
Yeah, that's where Jet Set maybe comes in a little more. Yeah, yeah.
I think other inspirations are probably just I think the way I draw in general. I do like black lines, do like spot blacks in comics, and I think that kind of came in. Another game that does that is like Void Bastards, kind of has spot blacks on their enemies like we do. Yeah, that's all I have for inspiration.
Yeah, and also like, you know, with the art style, it just complemented your general art preference as well, which just kind of made it easier to work and bend and just kind of both be nice and compassionate towards it, which is great.
Yeah, I didn't want to be out of my comfort zone that early on my first game.
Yeah. Well, we have gone out of our comfort zone, and it can be too much sometimes. So
yeah.
How did you become Noth Studio? Question 5. How did we become Noth Studio? So it's just us two. It started in college. Alex and I were roommates. There was 2 other people we were rooming with at the time, and we were kind of like we needed a chat name for our group, and so we just came up with Noth. Really, it was very random why, but for some reason it stuck because someone decided to change the name to it, and then no one changed it again. After 2 years, and then started working on projects together, and we decided we needed a name for the studio, just for when we do publish and push our games out. We kind of both looked at each other. We're like, Noth, right? Like, it just kind of works. It already exists. It already means us. So why not? So I don't know if you have anything to add.
The day I remember well was when you came down to Savannah because you'd already moved out, and we went to Sly's Sliders and Fries.
In Savannah.
And you had your your computer out, and you were like, okay, here's the business plan. You know, will you or will you not, join me on this venture? And I was like, really thinking about it. So that was, I think, that's the day, like, I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's when we were knees deep into the LLC and the business and the whole, like, grounds up things stuff. And, like, okay, outside of development, there's all these other things that we also need to be thinking about, especially if we want this to be successful. So it's not, it was a big deal. It was definitely a lot of moments, but I'm glad that it happened. It was really cool. And it is really cool. In a perfect world where budgets and time constraints aren't a thing, what would the final build for Tagline look like? No budget or time constraints. This is like a lot can happen. Because right now the whole world is built around having 3 districts, being single player, a really fun open world, or like hub and spoke. But we both want online.
Yeah, we both want, like, same. If it didn't take like 5 years and we could hire other people,
if the game didn't almost exist for its entirety right now, it'd be easier to get into. Yeah, online would be great. And if it was PvE or PvP. it'd be just great. Whether it's like being able to do campaign and co-op or being able to just do PvP, you know, arena mode stuff, because that would be super fun. And I can come up with, I can think of a lot of ideas of that would be fun with it, because it's so movement based, and you could just have like tag, and then you could just have a little more intricate games with just that fit the movement and the fighting of the game. I think that, yeah, PvP would be awesome. No time
PvP would be
constraint,
awesome.
budget constraint.
I think, yeah. Although it's great for a sequel, you know.
Great for a sequel, yeah.
It'd be huge. What is your favorite tagline NPC, and why?
Favorite tagline NPC? Well, I think you already have one, right?
Well, you answer first, and I can change my answer. Depending on
Okay. I'm like, crap. Favorite NPC? That's a good question. Okay, well, there can be a bias for why I like this character, but it's like not my favorite in style per se. But the race NPC is one of my favorites because he's kind of funny because he keeps dissing you, and he also gives the race, which is one of my favorite aspects of the game. But I don't think he's like the coolest one, and I don't think he's like my favorite one. I do really like the first one. So I don't even know what the one who works for the AVAF and is on break, because he's he's just really funny, and he's just exactly what Tagline represents, is like this I don't know if I can say that.
this. We'll bleep it.
They'll remove that. No, but he's great. He's really funny, and he's just kind of always dissing the AVAF and saying what we're thinking, and that's great, you know.
Very good. I was gonna go with that guy. I have a tie for my second favorite. It's either the we don't have a name yet. We call him Captain. I think he might be Fat Cap, or who knows what we're gonna call him. But the
guy with
combat guy.
The hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the demo is the guy who gives the combat mission.
Yeah. He because I didn't think he was gonna be interesting when I was designing him at first, and then I wrote for him, and I was like, oh, he's kind of like a weird, like authoritarian maniac psycho. So he's fun to write for.
He's kind of psycho.
He's like really hungry for some reason. Like he's always talking about food.
He's at war. That man is at war. He's like, we're taking them down. We're taking them down. Everyone else is kind of like, yeah, just vibe. Just do your thing. Play basketball. Who cares? Just race. Who cares? Just. And he's like, dude.
He's like, it's real.
Yeah, he gets real. He is pretty fun.
He's a good contrast. He like belongs in a Call of Duty game, but he's like really out of place, which I think is funny.
Yeah, he's definitely in his own mindset, his own gears.
A little crazy. And there's Black Book Girl, BB. I'm not going to talk too much about her because I want to keep a lot of her lore as secret.
I just like that she's crouched and sitting.
She's crouched. Yeah, she's tiny.
She feels very different to the other NPC, and that's kind of nice, kind of unique. And she, well, don't want to reveal too much, I guess.
We won't talk too much because she's the exciting one.
Cool. She is the exciting one. There are certain NPCs will matter more eventually. Anywho.
What does AVAF stand for? Anti.
Vandal.
Attack.
Force.
You're like, what's the last?
Force. I'm like, Force?
Force. Anti-Vandal Attack Force, yeah. I don't know how that came to be. I like acronyms. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, we just wanted a good acronym. And AVA is a good acronym.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just looks good. It's pointy, and we like triangles, so.
Yeah, it's an impressive letter.
Yeah. It looks like it has authority for some reason. It starts with an A, maybe. I don't know. It's
something you'd see on like
AVAF.
a fact document. Neutral. What other developers or games are some of your biggest inspirations in the industry? Like what other games?
Other games.
Other games.
Are developers. I mean, I think we can say that we can include Double Fine here because it was one that we both watched. A lot of we like to watch the Amnesia Fortnite videos, and it's really cool because they're very in-house and genuine, and they seem very passionate about the games they make, which is cool. I do also really like the Behemoth. I don't play their games as much anymore, but I remember being used to be really used. Oh wow, I can't talk, man. I used to be very into their games. I remember back in the day. They just have like very fun and quirky games, like Castle Crashers and Battle Block Theater, and it's just like they have fun narration and it's like very lighthearted. But the game is still like pretty fun and has enough content, and that's really cool. So those use I really like also indie companies in general, just because I feel like they really kind of push their ideas and they're super passionate about it and they know what makes their ideas special and they really try to push those aspects. Like that's what they want to do, and that feels good and you can really see it in their work. And so I love to see that, and I think Behemoth was one of those companies where I was like, wow, I can really see that they're passionate and they love it and they have fun with it, and that's great.
I think we both prefer indie games probably over AAA.
Probably. I mean, just yeah. I feel like AAA. There's AAA games that are great though, and I can speak for it. But even then, I don't know how, I can't say that the whole team was invested the same way. I'm sure that some were just as invested as some indie companies. But you can tell that there are things that are lacking, like story plots, or if it's not that, then it's the gameplay and the art looks great. Sometimes they sell out a little, and you can kind of see that, and it doesn't feel as polished in the aspect where you would want it to be polished, because obviously it looks perfect or whatever. So you're like, oh, it's perfect. So it doesn't matter. And we just give them money. But
Small teams are good.
Small teams are great. They come up with very unique stuff, very interesting things. So I do love that.
Before we move to the next question.
Well, Supergiant is another really good one, man. They make just beautiful games. I'm sure everyone kind of expects that, like especially with Hades, and like I feel like they've gone so big. But like I love Bastion, man. Bastion was great. And just because the story is really good, it's really fun, and even though it's super linear, it's pretty replayable. And they even thought of a way to make it more replayable and stuff if you really feel like it, if you're really into it. So I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, Supergiant makes great games though.
Yeah, they do make good games. Yeah. All of the movement shooters, I think all the movement indie shooters that came out in the past few years are helpful to us because they made a niche comeback. Ultra Kill, Boomerang X, Fashion Police Squad. Yeah. It was interesting to see those come back because I think they made us realize that there are a lot of people who will play Tagline.
Who still like this kind of like fast paced, just movement, like go fast, go, just don't think too much and just go for it. It's just satisfying, and we see that there is this niche audience that actually still loves these kind of games, and we still love those kind of games, and so it's really cool. It's really cool to be able to come up with ideas with it. Mm-hmm. For sure. Ultra Kill was a really fun one to get into.
Yeah, you played a lot of Ultra Kill.
Yeah, Ultra Kill was a fun one. Definitely some cool concepts. I mean, their endless mode was really cool as well. You just kind of keep surviving and stuff. I definitely think that, not making any promises, but it would be fun for Tagline to have a mode in a way where you can have kind of an endless thing, and you just upgrade through the abilities. Don't have to go through a whole campaign or whatever. But we'll see. No promises. Cut it. If it's over promising.
If it gets cut, it will be in an update.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, for DLC or something. Non-purchasable DLC, of course.
Non-purchasable. We don't want to do that to you guys.
Number 10. What has Tagline taught you as a video game developer? That's a big one.
I wasn't a video game developer until I worked on Tagline, so.
That's true. You always do this, man.
Everything.
You're the guy that goes to an animation competition. He says, "Well, I'm not an animator, but here's my art," and then it's great.
I like to stay in the middle.
So Tagline has taught you to be a video game developer. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't say any more on that.
Well, you worked you've also worked on Unia, and after starting on Tagline, you've also worked on other game projects and stuff. We've done some game jams together and other things, so it's not just Tagline. I feel like Tagline, especially this year, we've been working so much on it and being able to be kind of like full-time on it. I feel like we've been much more efficient with a lot of things, like our workflow and kind of our expectations and stuff has been so improved, and I think some of it will carry over on future projects, working on games and stuff, just like especially organizational stuff, like naming conventions and things to like stay nice and steady, so that I mean, just getting a server, because originally, especially working remote, we were having issues with working on the actual gaming, the game folders, the game engine, which we're using Unreal, and I was the only one in Unreal, and Alex would like give me his assets through Drive or whatever it was, which was not efficient, and Alex couldn't work in the game, which was actually very frustrating. So we had to come up with getting Perforce in a server and making that work. And that alone has actually helped our workflow tremendously, so much so that I think that it would still be good to, and of course we will be keeping this system going even when we would be together. It's just that having it in a server allows us to all work on the same working folder, and that's been tremendous. So just finding optimization, to kind of be able to do the same thing that we're already used to being able to do, but doing it really efficiently, and on time and confidently.
The real question is going to come when we have other people to manage.
The real question is when the team expands. When we're 2, it's definitely a little easier.
Who knows what that's going to look like.
But 2 is slower, and 2 can also come with kind of headlocks when we're in disagreements. And so I'm sure that if we were 4 or 5, those headlocks would be easier to go through, because like if 3 or 4 people are saying, no, let's not do this, it'd be easier to just move on. Sometimes we have to kind of reiterate and kind of really make sure that we understand what's the point, what's important, why is it important, etc. It's kind of like a pick your battle type of thing here. But it makes for a really nice and polished and cool game though, so I'm sure it'll be great. Just slightly slower development time, that's fine.
I think that's the end of the serious questions. Then we're gonna get into the silly.
The serious Q&A. Now we can laugh and whatnot. We'll see.
We'll see how silly they are.
Silly. We'll see how it goes.